What's up, YouTube fans? Today we are talking with Sam from Bots and Bits review channel. How you doing, Sam?
Great. How are you guys?
Good. So we
are talking with Sam from Bots and Bits review channel. How you doing?
There we go. Got a feedback there. We want to talk about your channel and about kind of how you got started. And so I'm continuing this series for those who haven't seen this before. We've been doing some interviews with some reviewers and some customizers and all sorts of people. And Sam is one of those people plugged into the community. So that's kind of why we're having you on the show. So thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
So one of the cool things is we're talking to you all the way from Australia, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's lunchtime here at the moment, so perfect light.
So have you always lived in Australia? Is that where you're from originally, or?
Yep, always here. I was born rural, out in a country town, but came into the city when I was young.
Is that a city like what I know what it is, or?
Have you heard of Adelaide?
Yeah.
South Australia is. Oh, I'm surprised actually. No, but South Australia is quite unknown, so we don't really have anything here except wine.
Wine, okay.
So it's just a lot of piss heads around here.
Yeah. So where you live, is there a lot of like Transformers collectors? Is that kind of a thing in Australia?
I bet. Oh, there's probably a handful, and most of them I've met personally. Yeah, I have quite a few people over whenever they're in the area.
Yeah. So you have a channel, Bots and Bits. How did you get started with that channel?
It started out as sort of like a drop shipping Australian store. So I was buying stuff off Taobao for myself, and it was quite difficult to navigate. And then because I was buying so much for myself, I struck up these relationships with some of the store owners and started buying from them privately without using the Taobao at all.
Can you say how much you were buying?
It was thousands every couple of months. So I was like hemorrhaging all my cash.
Like quantity 1,000 or dollar 1,000?
No, like dollar value thousands. And then once I had this relationship with these people, I thought, well, then friends were asking me to get them stuff, and then friends were asking me to get them stuff. And then I just set up a Facebook page for it. And it all sort of went from there. And it exploded really quickly. I was pretty overwhelmed with the volume of orders that I was having to do.
So were you shipping internationally or just Australia?
No, I was just keeping it to Australia.
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty expensive to ship internationally from Australia.
Yeah, it was expensive enough just to ship it around Australia. But the thing that I wanted to do was all the stock I wanted to come to me first, because I was selling KOs and those sorts of things. There were always problems with new release KOs, so I wanted them all to come to me first, and I would see that they were good. They were good enough to ship out, and then they would go out to people who had ordered them.
So you started by kind of on your own, then with your friends, and then how big did it get? How big was your store, customer wise?
I was shipping. I was probably shipping about 100 to 200 orders a week, depending on the releases. So
that's a lot. That's pretty big.
Yeah, but just for just me in my spare room, it was quite big.
So how did you get connected with the distributors and the wholesale? Like, how did that all start?
Well, that all started. It was just because I was buying so much personally, and then adding a little bits here and there. There was this one store called Kiki Cool, who decided to just bypass Taobao altogether, and we just had our little personal sales. I wasn't only buying from them; I was still doing some Taobao stuff as well. But they were really good to me. So that's how that started.
You were kind of a sister store with Taobao, or?
No. It was literally just me buying stock off these sellers.
Okay.
From WhatsApp.
So
instead of using the Taobao page.
So I've read the story, but like I want to hear from you. So what happened to the store? Why'd you stop from the store?
At its peak, I was looking at hiring someone because it was just gotten so big, and then my Alipay account got suspended because of one of my suppliers messed up. So Alipay is like PayPal for the rest of the world, like Asia and all that sort of stuff. And the Chinese government changed the rules on how much money you could have in your Alipay account without having. It was like you need a Chinese ID.
Some kind of tax, or
sorry,
was it some kind of tax you have to pay if you have a certain amount?
No, it wasn't a tax. It was like like PayPal. You spend over $1,000 and you need to verify your account. It's like money laundering sort of law sort of thing. Well, the Chinese government changed that law for foreign accounts only. And so I was doing all right because the way that I was managing the money was there would be no money would actually stay in the Alipay account. It would sort of like hop it to the distributor. But one distributor, when I was trying to get Fans Toys Stomp, I had an order of about 30 Fans Toys Stomps. And someone else put in a higher order and he sold my stock to this other person instead and refunded my money. And it refunded into my Alipay account and sat there, flagged my account, and then it got suspended until I can prove I'm Chinese, basically. So all that money is still sitting in that Alipay account. And Alipay said to me, if I go to China on a tourist visa and open a bank account in China, they can transfer the money to a Chinese account.
Wow.
But that's the only way I can get my money back. So I've written it off.
Is it a Chinese bank?
Alipay.
Yeah, where is the bank at? Like, who's got the funds?
I'm not sure. Well, like Alipay is like Chinese PayPal sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Alipay is still holding it, and they'll only release it to me if I set up a Chinese bank account for them to release it into with my own personal details. But I got to go there to do that.
So you stopped all distribution after that? Maybe so you closed the store? Or?
Yeah. Once that happened, I had to refund everybody their money. I had to sell up a lot of my own stuff to cover that because it was in the thousands. Excuse me. And after that, I just thought it's too risky. I can't have this happening again, and I can't afford to have it happen again. So I just cut out all the sales stuff, and then that's how a lot of the connections with the KO companies came about. Because one of the sellers at one of the stores that I was working with had partnered with another guy, and they were making KOs. And when I told them that I couldn't buy from them anymore, they're like, well, how about, we send you this stuff and you do some promotion for us. And that's how it started, basically. So
are you sponsored by someone, or they're just sending you KO stuff?
I don't speak to that. That was Robot Hero.
Oh, okay.
They were the first KO company that, and they were affiliated with this distributor that I knew, and that's how. And so that's early on. I had heaps of Robot Hero information, and nobody knew anything else about it. And I had that in. So I wouldn't say I was sponsored. Whenever they wanted something promoted, they would send it to me, and I'll do it for them. There was some talk that I was going to do instructional videos for them. They would have a QR code on their box, and you'd scan the QR code, and the video I made for them would pop up. But that never. So
you're still doing that, or you're just kind of buying your own figures?
No, I'm just buying my own figures now. After that, after Robot Hero, I went Black Mamba as well. I was discussing a lot of stuff with them. And then ShowZ came into the story when they were going from AliExpress over to their proper Western website. I formed a pretty close relationship with ShowZ store for, I think, 18 months, I reckon.
So my whole channel, I started with KOs. That was kind of where
oh, right.
I started with the Datsun cars, and then but I was always buying the original. So I'd buy the original, and then I'd buy the KO. And then I saw your channel, and I was like, there's no point in me doing this anymore because your comparisons are so, and I think it's why people watch it. You compare them so well and so detailed. down to the paint and everything. That I think that kind of made me think, I don't, and I actually kind of went away from it. So I've gone away from KOs.
Yeah.
But I think people, they really appreciate that because they want to know, is this good enough to replace, the real thing? I always buy both. I get.
Yeah. Well, that's when I could afford it. That's what I was doing. I'd buy the original. I'd buy the KO, and it didn't matter what the cost was. Whichever one was better, I would hang on to. And if Takara happened to do a great job, then awesome, they got my money. I'll hang on to it and get rid of the code.
Keep the better figure.
Compare and keep.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, I'm down to like one KO. I think Red Alert is the last one.
Yeah. Waiting for something better.
What was that?
Waiting for something better to come out.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably gonna give it away. That's gonna be where it goes. So yeah, I sort of ended up slowly moving away from KOs, and at this point, it's pretty much all third party. I have a Chinese eBay seller, that I work with.
Yeah. How do you say it? Baba Bao? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Baba Bobo.
Yeah. I've bought from him. I've bought from that store a few times.
His real name is Jun Fu. He's like on forums and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So obviously, we're a big fan of your reviews. What made you start the reviews after the store was over? Like, how'd you get into it?
Well, the channel actually started before the store ended.
Okay.
When a new KO would come out, I would get asked the same questions millions and millions of times. What's the paint like? What's the joints like? Are there any faults or anything? So originally I started it so I would have a product listed, and then there would be a video underneath of me describing the pros and cons of this product. So people who are buying it knew, hey, when you buy a KO Optimus, the hip ratchets are terrible.
You know what you're getting.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're getting. There's no like, it rocks up, you're like, oh, the hips suck. Now I've got to contact Bots and Bits and find out, am I getting a refund or the partial,
Yeah, that makes sense. So, where'd you get the name from, Bots and Bits? It's a cool name.
It was originally supposed to be Bits and Bots. It's because there's the saying like around here, it's like bibs and bobs. Just to like a box of junk is your bibs and bobs. So I thought Bits and Bots was pretty good, but Bits and Bots on Facebook was taken, so I just had to reverse it.
So that's like a phrase in Australia, or? Yeah.
I think it's more of a British phrase.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard it before. I love the name. It's just you have some cool graphics too. That's another thing. I need to get into that. I need to get some better graphics.
Oh, I'll give you the hot tip. It's a website called productioncrate.com. They have it's all really professional special effects that are they're so easy to use. And that's when it comes to editing the videos, the actual editing, I fall asleep editing the videos, but if I'm doing some gags or special effects or something like that, that's what's actually interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see you have, a lot of Masterpiece behind you. What do you collect? Do you collect just Masterpiece and KO, or what do you do?
It's an equal mix of Masterpiece and third party. There are quite a few KOs in there, but as I've gone to swap meets and those sorts of things, and I've picked up originals for quite a good price, I've moved a lot of the KOs on. But I've got
to do the same thing as me.
Yeah. But it's still chock full of KOs. So.
Oh, okay.
But I've got a Robocop shelf just down below me. Not Robocop, Robotech just below me. I'm a big fan of. Hang on, come over here. I'm a big fan of
nice.
Titanfall. Can you see that? There we go. So I love all my Titanfall stuff. And then around here, I've just got a small shelf next to my video games and that. I've got my Tekkaman, some Ninja Turtles, some Omega Boost, some video game stuff. At the top, my extra dominant claw. So I got a little bit here and there. Yeah, it's pretty.
I see some pretty cool turtle stuff back there. There's a big turtle. I don't know what that was.
Well, that was the NECA 1/4. NECA. I got corrected on that NECA.
NECA.
Someone politely corrected me on my last video. that I was saying it wrong.
So totally different question. What's your? I'm assuming you're a kid that grew up in the 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah, born 82.
Okay, so what's your favorite 90s jam? What kind of music do you like?
In the 90s, I was all about crappy techno. So Here's Johnny was my theme. Who was that by? Hocus Pocus. Here's Johnny. I love that. It was the most hardcore thing I'd heard when in my younger years.
I'm trying to think back to what techno was out in the 90s. I can't really think of anything that was, at least here, hadn't become mainstream. So I haven't heard of Hocus Pocus. But.
Oh, really? When you hear the song "Here's Johnny," you'll know it.
Okay. I'll have to look it up after.
Yeah.
So do you have like a Grail piece, something that you've always wanted, collector piece?
Yeah. The original Sleep Mode Masterpiece Prime.
Oh, MPO-1S.
Yeah, that thing is just absolutely beautiful. The KO just come out in, I think, mostly the correct colors. The KO MP10.
MP10S, right?
Yeah, but it's not the same for me. I want the MP1 Sleep Mode. That thing is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I never had a sleep mode of any version. I had MPO1 and 10, and now it's going to be whatever, the Magic Square, and I have yet to have one that's a sleep mode.
If Magic Square do a sleep mode, that thing will look amazing.
Yeah,
that will look amazing. I'll buy that for sure.
I'm getting the black one, the Nemesis one.
Nemesis one, yeah.
That one looks pretty good. So what's one thing about you that people don't know? Well, we probably talked about some of that stuff from your store, but what's something else that people don't know that you wish they knew? Or a question you get all the time?
Yeah, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty open with everything. I suppose one thing a lot of people wouldn't know is film and editing is is like my ultimate goal, is where I want to end up. So when I make one of my videos and there's like a skit or a gag in it or something, that skit or gag is the most important part of the video for me. It's the most fun I'm having, even if it's 2 seconds, or if it's a minute, it doesn't matter. That's my favorite part of putting the videos up.
Yeah, I've always wanted to, work in something like that, but it's just I can't. I guess it's not me, or maybe I'm not creative enough, but I can't figure out what kind of thing I'm going to put in there. I thought I'd work my daughter in, but I don't know. Yeah.
When I do a skit or a gag, usually I haven't even come up with it until I'm halfway through editing the video. Because when I edit my videos, I watch it, like I'll edit 5 minutes and then I'll watch that whole 5 minutes to make sure it makes sense. Because I stutter and repeat my sentences a lot when I'm doing my videos, so I've got to edit that out and make sure I'm still coherent. And so that's what, sometimes I sound like a bit of a robot in my videos because of that. But usually halfway through editing a video is when I come up with a gag, and then I've got to stop everything that I'm doing, grab my stepson, who's like 13. I'm like, get in the car, we're taking the camera out, and we'll go out and do something stupid out in public.
Yeah, you used to do that a lot more. Yeah, the ones outside or the ones like in public.
Yeah. It's just, I might seem really confident, but it is so embarrassing. Especially because a lot of the skits might be like 10 takes. And I did one by a bridge for one of the Bridge Watcher KOs. And that was maybe 8 or 9 takes. And we had like 4 people watching us, just standing there and wondering what we were doing. It was really awkward.
I tried to do a toy hunt in a local store here, Barnes and Noble, and like someone came up behind me, and I was like trying to film. I was like, I feel weird about this. I just stopped. I just aborted. I couldn't do it. Something about like you're trying to film and somebody's watching you.
It's really weird, especially just talking to the camera and trying to engage. Unless you're live streaming, I think when you just talk to a camera and filming, it's really, really weird. If you had an active audience on the other end, it might be a different feeling.
Yeah.
I started a second channel based on that. It was called Awesome Life. I got really into Casey Neistat for a while there, and I thought, oh, I can do that. I'm going to be the next Casey Neistat. And then I went outside with my camera and I just looked around and I was like, no, I can't do this. This is too weird. Just talking about my life into a camera, like in the middle of a supermarket or something. No, can't do it. It's too weird. So now I just, all the skits that I do that are too weird for bots and bits, I dump them on Awesome Life.
Yeah. So what's next for you? What do you want to do? I know you said something about film and editing, but what does that mean?
I wanted to turn that into a job, but in South Australia, it's not. I don't think that's really a possibility. But I wanted to go more into special effects, more into visual effects, and those sorts of things.
So like not reviews, but you're talking like actual movies, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's definitely different. What do you do now for your day job? Can I ask that?
now it's a mix of the channel slowed down quite a bit because the cash flow for the channel has stopped in the last few months. So it was a mix of the channel. I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I also do some disability work with children.
Cool. Hey, there's a bunch of people online, so if you guys have questions, now's the time. You can throw them out there, and I'll ask Sam here. I got one more. So what do you see in the future of Transformers? What do you think is coming? I mean, and you're kind of connected with the industry a little bit. So what's coming next?
It sort of feels like it's all coming to an end, doesn't it? It's like third party. It feels like they're reaching a point now where it's either go obscure or find another franchise sort of thing. And the KO industry has really slowed down quite a bit as well. Since you might remember that there was a drama January or February where a bunch of designs all got stolen. That really ruffled the KO industry, and it shone a ton of light from everywhere.
Are you talking about the Bad Cube design, or no? I'm sorry, not the Bad Cube. The X-Transbot.
There was the MMC Skylinks, and an early design of that was stolen. A couple of Gigapower Dinos was stolen.
They were never made though, right? They never actually produced them.
No, the designs that were stolen were the phase that they were in. They weren't ready for production. They still needed the designer who made them needed to finish them basically. So even though they were stolen, they were the KO companies who bought them from this guy who stole them. It was a waste of money. There was no way that they were producing them. But the X-Transbots Stunticon, he was one of the stolen files, and that got BB7 produced that super quick from that one data breach. But like I said, that shone so much light on the KO industry from everywhere that everyone just sort of shut up for a while.
Would you buy that?
I did buy it. Not because I really wanted it, because I bought it more because there was so much interest in it, and I was curious, so I wanted to check it out myself.
Just controversy, right?
Yeah, and I thought it might bring in some traffic to the channel and those sorts of things. But once I got it and once I had to mess around with it, I thought this thing is just garbage. Interesting story, but the product was a piece of crap. So I think I had a video pretty much complete of about 15 minutes of me just swearing at it.
Yeah,
this isn't worth it.
That's around the time I turned around on my opinion. So in the first maybe like 2 or 3 years on my channel, I was pretty much a supporter of KO. Like anything that they knocked off for Takara, it was fine, and usually it was better, especially like the Seekers and a few of the molds. They were actually better. But then they started knocking off third party, and they weren't better. They were actually worse, or missing stuff, or not the same paint. And And that's when I started, I'm not sure if I want to do this. And then it got to the point where they were stealing the thing before it was even put out. And that's where I kind of drew the line. I'm like, you know what, I don't want to promote this. So I stopped buying them. But I totally get why people buy them, the cost savings and all that.
Yeah, it's hard with third party, because there's two things that happen usually there's two things that happen when there's a third party KO. One, someone has stolen the design, and we found out that was one guy. That was one guy in China who had an opportunity twice. He did it twice. To access stuff on people's laptops, and he just took that opportunity and then just shopped the designs around until he found someone. The other thing when it comes to third-party KO is when a guy at a third-party company has decided we're not making this product anymore. We've made this character for so many years, nobody's buying it anymore. Then they sell the CAD file for the mold. Someone buys that, and then they shop around and they find a KO dude with a factory, and then they make it.
Do you know that for a fact that you're telling? Because that was something I postulated on my channel in a video. But are you saying that is a reality?
I know for a fact that is one particular line of products. I was told what it was in confidence, so I can't say their names.
Of course.
But that one particular line of products, that is how it happened, and they're still called KO. You'd think that they're now legally, or maybe not legally the owner, but they did legitimately buy the CAD file from the owner of that mold, and now they're making it themselves. So there's a lot of ways that the KOs get made. That doesn't happen very often. That's one particular line that I know of.
Yeah.
Other times it gets stolen. Other times it's like everybody works with each other. Like there's 40 KO companies, right? There's probably 10 guys who run them all. So one guy will have 2 companies, and then another guy will come over and they'll make a third company together. Then that guy will go with another 2 guys and make another company. And it's these like 10 or so guys just making everything, and have all the factory control. Someone will have something, they'll have to come to a KO guy with a factory to have it made, and then they'll split the money and those sorts of things. That sort of situation happened with BB7 and Yes Model. A lot of people think that they're the same thing, but they're not. You think of them as 2 different people who came in on the Skywalk project together. And BB7 had, from what they've told me, BB7 had a certain, they negotiated some sort of like product release as part payment or something like that. So BB7 got their product out first, and they had issues with it, and then Yes Model carried on with what they could afford. So it's really, there's a lot going on when these KOs are being made, and it's not always as black and white as some pirate with an eye patch has stolen this and then manufactured it and are 100% ripping everyone off. There's a lot of deals that happen in the background to have these things come about.
Yeah, that was one of the KOs I actually bought, was the BB7 toys. I bought the whole line, actually. I bought all 3. And yeah, they were better. They were better than the $200, which still to this day, it just shocks me that was $200. It was such garbage. Yeah. Especially the Starscream. I finally got rid of it. I have the Make toys now. Those guys.
I think, that changed a lot of people's minds. BB7 and Yes Model, they made such tiny little changes, and it almost fixed everything. And it's like, sure, the R&D costs to Takara for the Seeker mold would have been astronomical. It would have cost them so much money. But as collectors, we've pumped so much money back into them, and surely they've heard by now that at least the hip connection on the MP11, surely they've heard that by now. That's an issue. Make that connection, make it from that to that, and we're happy. Why can't you do that? So, and then a KO company comes along and does it, and everybody just supports them and throws all the cash at them. 100%, if Takara just made that peg just a little bit better, people would swap out their original MP11s for sure for the slightly better one, and people would support them. People would support them more if they just improved their products just that little tiny bit. I think anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the last few have been pretty darn good. Like the Sunstreaker, that was a pretty good thing, but the number of releases has gone down to like 1 or 2 a year. So it's kind of.
I've been pretty impressed with what Takara have been putting out lately. I think it's great, and the new aesthetic, while it doesn't really match all the masterpieces that I already have, it still looks really good, and they seem much more complex as well. Sunstreaker seemed pretty complex to me. I think maybe that has something to do with the how long it's taking now compared to other masterpieces. Maybe.
Yeah, I just want to shout out a couple of people. T-Man978, what's up? Sean Love, he's in the chat here, and then Omar Z, the custom. I don't know if you know any of these guys, but
I watch G-Man's videos. Yeah, I'm one of his subscribers.
Oh, there you go. Everyone watches his videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were confusing us for a while.
And I watch all of his Insta stories as well.
He started calling me KO T-Man, and I don't like that. I don't want to be the KO. Yeah, and then I don't know if you saw the kit. Omar made a kit to combine Zeta toys with the Unique toys. So you can take the limbs and the torso and combine them together.
Aren't they a slightly different scale?
Yeah, well, actually, it fits pretty good.
Yeah, right.
Let's see if I can.
I never would have thought.
It's right in the corner there next to construction.
Yeah, right.
So,
never would have thought.
So anybody who's watching, now's the time to ask questions because I'm going to wrap up soon if I don't see one. But so I'm more interested in a little bit more about the KO and the industry. And you said that there are some who make deals. One of the things that one of my theories was Make Toys Cupola. So I had the whatever it was called. I think it was BB7 Toys, a data clerk, and it was like the same.
The Yes model.
Yeah, sorry, the Yes model. Yeah, it was like the same thing. Even though like the packaging was almost the same.
Yeah, and even down to the original, the ankle issue of the first release, Cupola. It was the same on the Yes model as well. And you could go to the Make Toys website, Mucky Toys website, and buy and they would send you. You could get. It's a little bit cheeky. You could get the replacement ankles off them, and they would fit the KO. But the color, the color in the plastic was very slightly different, I think.
Wait, what do you mean they would fit the KO?
So the original Cupola had the loose ankles. The ball socket and the ankle was loose, and you had that toe bit that you would sort of have to connect in to the front of the foot.
Oh, you're saying they reproduced the defect in the KO, so.
Yeah, it was exactly the same. But on the Mucky Toys website, you could buy the replacement ankle to fix their original, but that would also fix the KO as well. But the plastic quality was just the plastic color, was just very slightly different.
Yes. Question for you. What do you think of TE01 versus MP44 versus Magic Square MS01?
You know what? I haven't actually had the Transform Element or the Magic Square primes in hand, which sucks. I've really wanted to check them out. They look incredible. They both have their pros and cons looks wise. I'm not getting the new Masterpiece Prime. He looks fantastic, but my God, that price tag is it's priced me out. Can't do it.
Same here. It's the first Masterpiece figure I'm not buying ever.
Yeah. Just cannot raggle that sort of cash just for that one. You know what? And I'm sure it's going to be fantastic, and I'm sure the price reflects the costs of research and development and all that sort of stuff. Plus their profits to make it, but can't do it. Just can't do it. Definitely support the Transform Element or Magic Square, because that is a ballsy move, releasing unknown companies releasing third-party Masterpiece primes right when the brand new one's coming out.
Yeah, it's a big risk, right?
Yeah. So, and from what I hear from everybody, their products are just they're good. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. I heard it is actually started by a KO company, but they're all the same people. Like it's the same, like 10 or 15 designers and groups. Right?
Yeah. 100% right.
Yeah, I have both. I got the TO one and I've got the Magic Square, and they're both really good. They're just.
If you had a choice between them, which one?
Oh, I can't. So that's the problem. Let me see. So here's TO1, and he's got the new head on it, and they're just good at different things, right? One is good at being super cartoon accurate, and that's this one.
Yeah,
he just looks like he came out of the cartoon, but his articulation isn't great. He's got a couple of limited articulations, like his legs don't rotate, his arms, are a little bit. But then this guy, now this is customized, so you kind of have to take that into account a little bit. But he's got amazing articulation, but he's kind of stylized, right? He doesn't really look like the cartoon as much.
Yeah.
So if you forced me to get rid of one, if you said someone's taking away your toys and you got to keep one, I would probably keep Magic Square, just because I play with it more. Yeah, but you should check these out. I mean, they're pretty fun to play with, especially if you're not.
Well, the main one I've got the Hasbro MP10.
Yeah,
and that
I have that. I've got that too. I mean, I have all three now. I got to get rid of one of them. One of them's got to go.
I did have a pretty huge. I called it my Prime Shrine, where I had every color of Prime that you could think of. Plus, I had the matching Wei Jiang oversized. And it was taking up so much room, and I'm not even that big of a fan of Prime, really, to have like 15 different copies of him. So Prime sort of relegated to a little. I don't know if you can see that little section in here now with my MP1 and.
Oh, that poor Prime. I used to have a Prime collection. That was the way I started, and then this happened.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't see any other questions for Sam here. Oh yeah, MS1. He does kind of look like. Have you ever played Transformers Devastation on like PlayStation or Xbox?
I picked it up. I reckon I gave it about 45 minutes before I was sick of it.
It's kind of a tough game to play, but he does look like him. So that's the Magic Square one looks like Prime from that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about KO MP44? Right. And what do you think the price? What do you think the price is going to be? This is all speculation, right?
Yeah. The way it's going, I reckon the price will be over half. Easy. It's definitely coming. They're not going to miss that opportunity in any way. But it's gonna be a difficult one for them, and I think it looks like it would be problematic.
Why do you say it's problematic?
It looks so complicated, the transformation, and with the backpack and all that sort of stuff.
Parts count.
I really think the KO company will have trouble pumping out something that will be high enough quality for the price.
I mean, they were able to do it with the Megatron, right? That had a pretty high parts count, and it was pretty intricate in terms of the transformation.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. I know that the KOs I always stay away from are the ones in the Takara Tomy boxes. They're always the worst quality. They're always the shabbiest. And I think the first release of those, they were the ones missing the unibrow. They had right shoulder floppiness. I think a lot of waist connections snapped on those ones, and they had ankles, hips, all those sorts of things snapping. Especially that connection in the middle of where you connect when you bring the hips down, you got that tab in the middle that was almost impossible to untab the first time. I saw a couple of photos of them in different and varying stages of stress.
I just got a bunch of really good questions. So,
Okay.
so one is, uh, what's your favorite Masterpiece scale transformer?
Favorite master. Let's have. What do we got? I would have to say my favorite is the iGear Dirge. I love that so much, and that was a grail for me for a long time.
You think that's going to be
I think-
better than the what is it? Make Toys making one?
Oh
You
no,
think-
no, the Mucky Toys one will crap all over it.
Oh, okay.
The iGear, it's just I have like I don't know. It's just it's something that I wanted for so long. It's the iGear cone heads have a special place for me. I love them.
So you said Prime isn't your favorite. Who's your favorite character?
Who would be my favorite? Yeah, no, probably Dirge. I think
Dirge?
between Dirge and Shockwave, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm pretty boring. I'm a Prime and Jetfire. It's pretty much my two favorite characters. If you told me if I had to get rid of everything, it would be Jetfire and Optimus Prime.
Jetfire is just the most boring character.
He's very plain, but
Yeah.
it's the look of it. Was the toy. So the toy is what I had when I was a kid. It wasn't the show.
Yeah.
The show didn't really get me. It was when I had that toy. It was something different, right? It was nothing like the other Transformers.
Yeah, I always really wanted the original G1 toy when I was a kid, but I was Robotech mad in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, he is Robotech, so that's why he's different.
I understand that, sure.
See, I wasn't like we didn't really have Robotech wasn't prominent here. It was kind of like a very small following, and people that did know it, it wasn't like everybody at school was talking Robotech. They were talking about Transformers. So when you saw the Jetfire toy in line with all the other toys, it's like totally different. It doesn't even from a different world.
Yeah.
So this is the question. This is the question I wanted to ask, but I forgot. How many units does a third-party company need to produce in a run to allow the factory to accept it? What's the minimum?
So one company told me they need to sell 5,000 units to make a profit. Anything under that is either breaking even or making a loss.
5,000?
5,000.
Yeah. So does it matter?
That's globally, and the Chinese market is massive, absolutely massive. So a good 3/4 of that would be China.
Wow.
From my conversations.
Does it matter whether it's like an expensive Fans Toys figure versus a lower cost something else?
That I can't answer. This was the conversation I had was specifically in relation to MP11.
P11. Oh, you mean like KO MP11s or like the official?
Yeah.
Okay.
The
So like the BB7 toys, they need to make 5,000 of those minimum to be profitable.
BB7 didn't need to. Their arrangement was much less than that, but
those kind of toys.
Yeah. So like Yes Model or Roboformers, I think was another one. And the original, the Takara Tomy box KO, around 5,000.
That's a lot. So
yeah.
So if you think about what numbers is Fans Toys or a company like that, one of the major third-party companies, do you know like how much are they producing in a run?
No, I could only speculate. I haven't really apart from
mostly KO, you're talking, right?
Sorry?
You're talking KO mostly.
Yeah. When it comes to third party, I'd say their margins would be much higher because the cost of a schematic is anywhere from 20,000 US to like 50,000 US easy. So the third party companies have to factor that in as well, and hence why their prices are so high. And then the KO companies they're just knocking that off. They might have a reverse engineering cost, or which wouldn't be anywhere near what, say, just say if they're knocking off a Fans Toys and they spend 30 grand on the Fans Toys. Fans Toys spend 30 grand on their schematic. The KO company might, I'm just guessing, pay a third of that.
When you say schematic, are you talking CAD files? Are you talking like the actual molds?
Yeah, like a CAD file, yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. So that kind of puts you, that you can sort of figure out they've got to recoup that, and based on the price of the figure, you could kind of figure out how many they need to make, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, which is why I think when you think of the cost of the designs, which is why I think that as Takara's complexity has gone up and their style has changed slightly, I'm sure the cost of the design has also skyrocketed. Being so complex and the troubleshooting phase taking so long, it's the overall production cost will just be phenomenal these days anyway. Yeah.
So what do the KO schematics cost? But they still have to produce a CAD file.
I only know of one, which was one of the stolen ones, which was about 5,000 US. So that was just chump change. Shopping around trying to get anything for it.
What do you mean?
So there's someone who had stolen the person that had stolen the designs.
Oh, okay. So they're just they have stolen
around.
Yeah, I get
someone gave them 5,000 US for one.
Yeah.
According to what they told me. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm talking not the stolen ones, but like the ones that they either reverse engineer or they make them themselves, like an infinite transformation or like a Black Mamba, right? They're obviously producing something.
Yeah.
What are those?
I've got no idea what that would cost. Like I could only guess.
Did they do it internally? Like their own guys are making it?
It depends on what sort of money they've got. So, excuse me. So we'll just say I won't use anyone's name. So we'll just say like company one might just be you might be company one, right? And you've designed this yourself. And then you have someone else, a friend, you show it to a friend and he says, I'll put 20,000 in on that. And then you find a factory who will produce it for the right cost. And then you've got a company, basically. That's as simple as that's how easy some of it happens.
That's why there's so many.
Yeah, that's why there's so many. Because like one guy might have a handful of designs and they'll release it as, I don't know, Interbot Skyforce or whatever, and then that's all they've got. And then someone else comes to Interforce and says, "Oh, I've got this," and then they join together and they make ForceBot, and they release ForceBots. It's just, that's why a company might release 5 or 6 different bots, and then you never hear from them ever again. Especially with the KO companies and their little third-party offshoots. They have their trick, they do it, and then that's over. And they meet up with someone else and have a chat, and they do something else.
Shout out to Wild Bill. His questions are crushing it. His next question was, how come there are no Fans Toys KOs? I wondered the same thing. How come nobody's knocking off Fans Toys? How do they stop?
I don't know. There was talk about it.
What's stopping it?
KO. There was serious talk about the Jetfire KO, but for some reason, Fans Toys just seems untouchable. I don't know. I have no idea. It could be because their stuff is such high quality, and it's quite complicated. I think if you lowered the durability on a Fans Toys product, it would fall apart. I don't think it would be worth producing. And I think the production costs of a Fans Toys thing would be quite high as well because their materials are pretty good.
Oh, so they might not be able to turn a profit if they sell it for a lower cost because it costs a lot to produce it in the first place.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's just my speculation anyway.
But the process is the same, right? To disassemble it, reverse engineer the mold, and then make it. They could do it for any company.
Yeah. Everything could be KO'd. easy. Yeah.
So it doesn't
But
matter that it's Fans Toy. I mean, it's not that Fans Toys is doing something in particular to prevent them from doing it. It's just that their designs are more complex to the point where it's hard to make it profitable to produce. That's your speculation, but that's what you're saying?
That's my speculation. Yeah, maybe Fans Toys is like the mafia boss of the industry, and you don't dare cross them, or you end up at the bottom of the lake. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe you KO something from Fans Toys, and they send you some concrete boots, and that's it for you.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a strange thing because nobody knocks them off, but also they don't reissue anything. Right?
No, they don't. You know what? I think that's on purpose as well. I really think it's on purpose. They fulfill their pre-order number, plus they probably have their damage and return number, exchange number, like incidental sort of thing. And then they have a small number of excess, but apart from that, they keep their releases pretty limited. And I reckon that's on purpose because they know their reputation and they know their demand. And if they keep it limited and the resale market doesn't, like, people don't really sell their Fans Toy stuff too often. So with keeping that demand at peak, when they do reissue something, it's like everyone just grabs it really quick because maybe you want that, maybe you don't. Just grab it just in case, because in 4 weeks nobody has Fans Toy stuff left to sell. It's just gone.
Yeah. How many versions of MP44 you think they're gonna make? I mean, I know you were saying it's going to be tough to make because of
they are going to milk it. They will milk MP44 until it's a shrill cow in the back of a paddock. They will milk the hell out of that thing. Have you seen all the money they're trying to grab out of MP10 leading up to the release of MP44? Because they know once MP44 comes out, nobody's touching MP10 ever again.
Right.
No, nobody's going to want it. So they are just, anybody who wants to paint an MP10, they're like, yep, go for it. 7-Eleven, Ghostbusters, Nike shoes, yep, it's free for all, whatever you want. I could probably, if I had the money for the license, I could probably get a Box and Bits MP10 right now. They're throwing him away.
Yeah, I mean, what they mean, that LeBron James one?
Yeah, that orange one, and there were 2 other ones as well. I think I saw it.
They had the Evangelion. They had the purple one, the Shattered Glass. I mean, there's been a million of them.
The Shattered Glass one makes sense to me. That makes sense. It didn't look very good.
Nemesis makes sense too.
Yeah.
So someone just asked. We already answered that question about MP44 with Magic Square. He doesn't have Magic Square, so no context yet. Someone send this man a Magic Square. I mean, you got to see the thing. Although you live in Australia.
I was hoping one of my mates would pick it up, then I would get to have a cheeky look, but it hasn't happened yet.
Does anybody send you stuff? I mean, it's Australia, but
when the channel was much more active, I think I was doing one to 2 videos a week. I was getting sent a lot of stuff, and I was getting a lot of emails about for media packages about promotion and those sorts of things. And usually, I would refer them through, and then there would be Chinese companies, and they wouldn't know how to get the product to me, so I'd refer them to Show Z Store, and then me, Show Z Store, and whoever this company were would sort of work something out, and that would benefit us all. And it was fantastic. It was a great relationship that we had for a long time.
Yeah, I wish I could set up something like that, but
you got Baba Bao on side.
I have a feeling he's not connected with the factory. He's just buying it wholesale. He's just another wholesaler, like you were doing, right? I don't think he has an actual connection with the people producing it or designing it.
He'll get there. He'll get there. Eventually, they all reach out and want to cut out the middleman.
He's told me he doesn't have pre-production. He doesn't get pre-production samples. Yeah.
So there's only a couple of places that I know that get pre-production samples. I know TF Direct is the big hitter. They've got a lot of pull.
Another
Excuse
question
me.
for you. Why did you stop doing as many reviews?
Money. That's all it was. The
Meaning
money.
you're working or?
Yeah. So like I had a bunch of cash set aside for the channel and for doing the comparisons and all that sort of stuff. And then as the money ran out, the videos, I stopped buying as much basically. And then and then me and Show Z Store had a great relationship going on.
Wait, are
He
you
moved
referring
on.
to the YouTube, the change in the like AdSense policy?
No,
No,
no, I never really made much out of AdSense.
you're
I
just
think
saying
I
your
probably.
personal.
Sorry.
You're just saying your personal finances, not like
Yeah,
YouTube.
personal finance.
Yeah. Okay.
But whenever I got an AdSense payment, I would always buy something for a video out of that. But that was like 200 Australian a quarter, I think. So it was maybe 1 or 2 videos.
Yeah.
Coming out of that.
Yeah, YouTube doesn't pay for anything really.
No,
like one figure a year, maybe.
It was a nice bonus. That's all it was. Just a nice bonus.
Yeah. What's the first Transformers toy you ever got?
First, I reckon it was Prime, and I've still got it.
Well, from
I reckon I got-
1985?
Sorry?
You have the original from 1985 or 1986?
Yeah, yeah. It looks like trash now because like I've driven it through puddles. It's gone through mud.
Yeah.
I've thrown it off a swing. You know, the original Prime was like my pocket buddy. It was like my teddy. He went everywhere that I went.
Yeah, I lost my original. I made the mistake of giving all my Transformers to my cousins, and they destroyed them all. So I had to start all over.
Yeah, that's lucky.
But at this point, I don't have anything. The only G1 I have is Optimus. I have nothing else.
Yeah, that there was a point in my collection where I thought I'm going to have the G1 here, and I'm going to have the Masterpiece behind it, and that's going to be my cabinet. But that I couldn't maintain that, so I just had to grab whichever ones were my favorite, whichever ones I remembered from childhood. I would hang on to. So, and there's only a handful. There's like the Prime, the Target Master Slug Slinger. That was a big thing for me. So I managed to find him, and the Pretender, the aquatic one. I can't remember his name.
I never got into Pretenders, so I don't really know them well.
I didn't really get into them either, but for some reason,
just that toy.
Yeah, like my mum bought it for me, and when I was little, and that memory of her giving it to me is stuck in my head. So I just had to get another one.
What MP would you like to see made that hasn't been announced?
Slugslinger, Masterpiece Slugslinger, definitely. Third party or Takara, I don't care. I just want one.
What is that from season 3? Season 4?
Yeah, he's a Target Master.
Okay, yeah.
He was a grey jet with 2 cockpits.
Okay,
and I reckon that he only had one English line, which was something like affirmative or something. That was all he said. I cannot even think of what his voice sounds like. But I love that figure, and if someone made a Masterpiece scale one of it, I would instantly buy it, whether it was good or not. I don't care.
Wild Bill says Octopunch. Is that the name you're looking for?
Octopunch? No. Hang on, one sec.
I don't know anything about Pretenders. Just totally clueless.
This guy. Here he is.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on his name. I can't think of what his name is.
Someone's gonna say it on the comments, I'm sure.
Someone will have to know what that is. But this guy, he holds a special place in my heart for some reason. I don't know.
My first one was Cyclonus. It was kind of a weird one. My first Transformer was called Cyclonus.
Yeah, right. You know what? I've never handled the G1 Cyclonus. He both looks great and crappy at the same time.
He does. Like his head is this weird long thing, and it's rubbery on the end, so kids couldn't hurt themselves.
Yeah.
What announced figure are you looking forward to the most in the coming year? This is the last question.
Not sure, to be honest. I think I'm most curious to see what Hound turns out like, because the Takara Hound, it looks fantastic, but now that people have zoomed in on him a bit, I'm seeing a few things that look problematic, especially that head transformation. It looks like his head comes round on a hinge and flicks and just sits there on the bonnet, and that looks terrible.
Are you buying?
So I'm going to wait for the reviews on that one, because I have Fans Toys Willie, and
yeah.
I think he looks great.
Yeah.
I'm not keen on swapping that out, and he was quite difficult to get. I think I bought that a year ago, maybe over a year ago. He was quite difficult to get, so I'm not going to trash him.
Yeah, so this is really interesting because, you know, I have Fans Toys Willis too, and it's an amazing figure, and it was expensive. It took me actually 3 tries to get it. I bought it once new. I bought it new for $200, and it showed up and it wasn't new. It was actually broken. So returned that, bought it a second time, and they changed their mind, and I didn't get it. Then about a third time, and the third time I got it for 140 off an auction, which is a really good price for you know, what he goes for. And now I have it. I'm like, I don't know if Takara can beat it. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm getting the Hound. I forgot the number, whatever number it is. 45? What is it?
I got no idea.
I think it's MP45. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm getting that, and I'm almost wondering, is this going to be the first time that third party produced something before Takara? Because usually they do it after, right? They make a newer version or a better version. But they made this before, well before, having no clue what the Takara design looked like, or you know, they can't copy elements of it. Like the Make toys, there are elements of the Seekers that they copied. You know, they didn't copy the mold, but like the way the wings fold up and tab in, and the way certain things transform, they're very similar. So elements of the design, but this was an original mold. Like nobody had made it, and I'm really interested to see, is Takara going to actually copy some of the elements that they did?
Maybe.
And is it going to be die cast? Is it going to have the paint? Is it going to be the same quality? Is it going to have the same, you know, heft to it?
Yeah,
so
I think there was an unpainted photo going around of the MP Hound at one stage that did show some die cast in the feet. I might be wrong about that, but
they need to have that to compete. You know.
Yeah. For
sure. If they don't have die cast, I think they're not even in the game. All right. Well, thank you everyone that's watching. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you, Sam, for answering all these inside questions that everybody's been wondering these questions. And you just have that knowledge that helps us understand how this business works. So we appreciate that. Sure.
No problem.
So thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.